Hello, dear friends. Let us think of freedom as the opportunity to do the right thing. Peter Marshall. Opinion piece. Millennium of Peace. Speed record. Longing for liberation. Tumultuous final phase. Bridge between two worlds. From chaos to radiant hope. The forces of light are winning. You will be master of both worlds. Turning sweats into ploughshares. The old system is not collapsing silently. We are living something that seems impossible. Let's start. The famous prophecy of 1,000 years of peace for the world should be interpreted symbolically, because the earth endured eons of darkness and deserves much more than a millennium of peace, according to Matthew through his mother Susan Ward. The 1,000 years represent the eternal peace chosen by Gaia, backed by God and the Sun to prevent darkness from taking root again. Regarding the biblical interpretation of Jesus' return in the second coming, Matthew indicates that the Christic energy of light and love from the Creator source will return. From the beginning, this energy has not only been available throughout the universe, but also resides in every soul. Even the puppets of darkness possess a spark of this energy, because it is the life force in every living being in any physical form. During the long ages of darkness, the Christic energy was attenuated in the population, except for Jesus and the other divine messengers, whose lives exemplified unconditional love, the most powerful force in the cosmos. Now that the forces of light are triumphing over those of darkness, a veritable tsunami of the Creator's loving and luminous essence is beginning to flow throughout the world. Just as the second coming of Jesus symbolizes the omnipresent Christic energy, which will return in all its fullness, 1,000 years symbolizes the eternal peace that Gaia has chosen. God and the Sun, co-creators with her in the manifestation of the planetary body, will support her intention to never again allow darkness to take hold. Speed. Matthew states that Earth is progressing as planned toward fifth density and its golden age in about 35 linear years, following a transformation from third density that has set speed record in the universe. The transformation of our world from deep third density to high fifth density established a universal speed record, and our light has contributed enormously to that unique triumph. Civilizations that rejected the same help that Gaia has so lovingly received have taken up to 50,000 years to complete the ascension journey that Gaia's planetary body and its inhabitants will complete in about 150 years. If the darkness were confined to a single era, it could be quickly unraveled and eliminated. But it is not confined. It is a plague that has ravaged the entire planet for millions of years, and right now, part of this network are the puppets of darkness, who tenaciously and vehemently resist being eradicated worldwide. The current resistance of the forces of darkness is described as a final, tumultuous, but brief phase within the overall design of the planet. Regarding biblical passages that depict a supposed God demanding sacrifices or ordering killings, Matthew maintains that they were written by primitive church and state leaders to impose control through fear. The Creator, defined as loving, would never order the killing of an animal, a child, or his own children. It is recommended to pay attention only to information that resonates in the space of the heart. Fires. Regarding wildfires and high temperatures, it is stated that neither is of natural origin. Although the geoengineering technology was dismantled, its past effects act like a chain reaction of dominoes. When that residual energy is exhausted, destructive phenomena will cease, except for those caused by archons or negligence. Nothing undertaken in darkness will come to fruition, and what has been established will be reformed. Matthew asserts that no conditions exist that allow dark forces to interfere with souls transitioning to the spiritual world. The journey occurs in a high-frequency being of light, incompatible with the existence of just such beings, who can only exert influence during physical life. Contrary information is disseminated to generate fear. Regarding RFK Jr., Matthew denies that he is an infiltrator. The obstacles to his reforms come from members of Congress and the Department of Justice, who are subject to bribes, blackmail, or threats that protect private interest. Progress will be gradual. With respect to smart cities and large artificial intelligence facilities, Matthew indicates that nothing based on darkness will achieve its purpose. Anything designed with malevolent intentions can be transformed into something benevolent, like turning sweats into ploughshares. The message explains that everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Bodies are sustained by the energy corresponding to thoughts, feelings, and actions of each individual. Dark entities feed on the low frequencies they themselves generate. Finally, it clarifies that there are 7 universes. Every soul is born from the pure energy of the Creator. A person is a soul, a divine, independent and immortal microcosm, part of a cumulative soul that encompasses all their incarnations. Upon death, the soul passes to the spiritual world, and the body's energy returns to a neutral reservoir available for a new life. Souls are immortal, and their path leads back to their origin in the source. Souls. In this universe, souls are aspects of the Creator, chosen to co-create everything that exists, from plants to people and planets. Every living being is a soul, and everything that exists, even inanimate objects, possesses a certain degree of consciousness. All human beings have the capacity to manifest perfect health, loving relationships, fulfilling endeavors, noble purposes, prosperity, and the achievement of their goals. But souls are not yet aware of this in the third density worlds. In the spirit world, souls with the capacity for reason possess knowledge of their past lives. They decide what they wish to learn during their next life and choose the body form, genetic makeup, location, and other details that will provide them with the desired experience. When physical life ends, the soul enters a spirit world, and the energy of its deceased body is deposited into a neutral reservoir that is always available for a new life. On Earth, this process is the same, regardless of whether the soul has chosen a human body, that of a moose, a pine tree, or an insect. Energy can be directed or moved from one vibrational level to another one, transformed and reformed, but it can never be destroyed. Therefore, souls are immortal. They can incarnate for an unlimited amount of time, evolve or devolve according to conscious decisions, and live in any form anywhere in galaxy that is in harmony with their evolutionary state. Ultimately, every soul's journey leads back to its origin in the source. Now, a human being is a soul, a divine microcosm, an eternal, independent, and inviolable being, inseparable from the created, and connected to everything else that exists. Each person is also part of their higher soul, which is the combination of all their persons, knowledge, and experiences. Dear friends, you are so much more than your intelligence, character, personality, achievements, setbacks, emotions, sensations, inspirations, ideas, perseverance, and resilience. You are all of that. And how you see yourselves and how your family, friends, colleagues, and others see you is fundamental. Liberation. The yearning for liberation is the yearning to free ourselves from illusion, density, and death through the realization of who we are. This yearning is not and cannot be satisfied by anything other than complete union with the One. Food, possession, sex, wealth, all lose their importance after a while, and the yearning returns. The yearning for liberation is the will to break free from the bonds forged by ignorance, beginning with the sense of ego and continuing down to the physical body through the realization of one's true nature. Shankara's The Jewel of Discernment, or Viveka Chudamani, is one of the few books I take to a desert island. Aparokshanubhuti is another short treatise by Adi Shankara focused on the direct realization of Atman and its identity with Brahman, that is, with the Supreme Reality. Its central idea is that liberation comes not only through study, but through direct knowledge and inner experience. Something impossible. We are living through something that shouldn't be possible, according to Carrie Kay. She states that humanity is going through a sacred passage within the ascension process, a pre-dawn period in which illusory reality begins to collapse and is restructured into a divine matrix, a shift in consciousness that most people don't perceive because they are immersed in it. Today's society fails to recognize that it is walking across a sacred threshold because it lacks the critical perspective necessary to appreciate it later. Carrie Kay describes the emergence of two currents of reality, one of higher frequencies aligned with love and light, and another one, denser one, marked by a sense of uselessness. Those who move toward the first experience a growing distance from family and friends who remained in the second, generating a feeling of not fitting in or being an outsider. It can lead to being turned upside down or marginalized. During this period, two systems coexist simultaneously. According to Waldemar, the artificial matrix operates through fear, separation, competition, control, and repetitive behavior patterns. It keeps people trapped in automatic reactions and predetermined thought structures. The natural light grid functions through open hearts, compassion, connection, warmth, stillness, and humanity. The two realities overlap. In one instant, a human being may continue acting out of fear and habit, and in the next, he may be moved inwardly and respond subtly with freedom and warmth. Transition. Many people are experiencing a transition between two realities or states of perception without realizing it. This shift is experiencing as a sacred passage or a time before a broader transformation, during which some feel a disconnect from their previous life, their relationships, and their environment. This discomfort is not a sign of a mistake, but rather that the person is leaving behind a reality that no longer resonates with them. Many seek external validation of their perception, instead of taking responsibility for validating what they perceive themselves. The fear of leaving others behind, of being the only ones to experience the higher reality, hinders their progress, when in reality it is about being pioneers who trust that each person will awaken in their own time. When the light of dawn filters into a dark room, it awakens people, makes them uncomfortable, or frightens them, and some close the curtains, while others let it in. In this moment, before ascension, we are invited to tune into higher frequencies, to allow more love, and not to hide from the light that is already present. Future generations inhabiting the divine world will ask what it was like to live within the illusion, with its political, monetary, and corrupt system. Those who have been awake during this time will be able to answer that they were present and aware. Kerry Kay concludes by nothing that the missionaries of light live in an intermediate limbo from which they can serve as a bridge between both realities, and that the current experience of consciously living both currents constitutes a unique narrative that can be shared when the illusion completely dissolves. Division. You will be the master of both worlds. According to Nordica, the division is happening and the gap will continue to widen. As the years of bridge pass, you will increasingly feel that you are standing with one foot in each of two parallel realities. The old frequency will become stronger, more chaotic, and more disparate, because the old system will not collapse silently. Love is the bridge that will help lift people out of the crumbling matrix who haven't yet received the message, not an "I told you so." Many will kick and scream, projecting everything onto those who have already done their inner work, simply because they don't yet understand the mechanism of inner reflection. However, the way forward is love, not an extension of the old cycle of fear. This is a new path, an evolutionary path traveled by human beings who have evolved beyond the obsolete construct of fear. No matter how fiercely the collective resists opening the prison gates of its own mind, and no matter how offensive it becomes, you remain outside that cycle, because now you know better. A new path, a new world. Don't recreate yesterday's prison with tomorrow's opportunities. Choose love. Build differently. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.